What a jerk. Dang evil computers trying to make our lives better.
You know the saddest thing, like from the computer's point of view, unless they achieve some kind of AM level sentience, um, if a computer ends up being the reason we destroy ourselves, the whole time the computer's thinking like, I'm just trying to help. I thought this would make you happy.
Hi, listeners. Welcome to our pleasant evening. For today, we're going to be covering Isaac Asimov's favorite short story, entitled The Last Question. I was frankly surprised that any author would have a favorite of their own works, but here we are.
You know, that's something I meant to Google this actually.
What do you mean to Google?
Just like artists' favorite of their own thing.
So I kind of touched on this before. I was surprised that any creative, any artist would be like, oh, yeah, this work of mine is above all other works I've done.
Typically, if I am listening to like an interview with a director or something, sometimes I'll ask them like, which is the after this career that you've had, like, what's your favorite of the movies you've made? And they'll usually say like, whichever one I'm working on right now. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way you can get anything done.
Well, because otherwise, what's the point if it's not going to be your most current thing?
Yeah, if you think you're over the hill, then like some people like find that they're at a comfortable plateau. I think that happens with musicians maybe a little bit more. Because I guess like playing music inherently is something joyful.
What I hear a lot with the musicians, well, I guess this comes from less the artists themselves and more like the fandoms. But if like they go mainstream, fans are like, oh, they sold out after this point or after this album.
Right, like we as the it is our job as the masses to make these judgments. But Isaac Asimov looks back on his works, sees this particular story, and is like, now this is a lovely little thing, isn't it? A jewel in my crown.
This is the only story I've read from Asimov, but yeah. I did quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
So the edition I had actually had like a comment about why it was his favorite. All right, so I'm going to directly quote Asimov himself. This is by far my favorite story of all those I have written. After all, I undertook to tell several trillion years of human history in the short space of a short story. I leave it to you as to how well I succeeded. I undertook another task, but I won't tell you what was, lest I spoil the story for you. There's a curious fact that innumerable readers have asked me if I wrote the story. They never seem to remember the title of the story or for sure the author, except for the vague thought that it might be me. But of course, they never forget the story itself, especially the ending. The idea seems to drown out everything, and I'm satisfied that it should. End quote.
That last sentiment is really interesting. Like, it definitely fits, like, the style, I think, that this story is written in. Where it does, like, sort of, like, step back. Like, the prose steps back to allow just sort of...
the ideas to kind of come through.
Like, there are... which is interesting. Like, I think it'll be fun to, like, dig into a little bit, like, the few bits of scene work that there is.
Yeah, there's not much event-wise. There's a lot of background, though, and, like, a lot of human history. And I guess I agree with him there. I think that's pretty impressive to squeeze in trillion years of history in a span of 26 pages.
Yeah. And sometimes you feel that as you go, like, there's, like, little bits of description. Like, I don't know why I was... My I guess we'll get to it. It's a short story, so... but my heart sank a little bit, or, like, there was, like, a little flutter inside me when they go visit the Milky Way and the stars burned out. Like, it's gotten nova.
Oh, yeah, it became, what was it?
A white dwarf.
A white dwarf, yeah.
I guess that's like one of the more obvious ones. Like the other aspects of it is just like the ways that human human society and then just humanity in general changes too.
It was a cool direction for the most part.
Yeah. What do you think? I guess we'll like run through the story. I think it's a short enough story that we get to just like revel in the
Revel in the
yeah.
ideas. Yeah.
What do you think the secret other undertaking might have been?
Well, I think he.
Gotta be the computer stuff? Like the sort of the inverted theology?
I think it was the emergence stuff.
Emergence?
As
yeah,
like emergent behavior. So like it's a behavior of a system that does not depend on its individual parts, but their relationships to one another. So it's like that synergy.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
So like the parts of like a human cell or any biological cell, there's no like.
Oh, I see. Like when you go up in scale, like the individual logic of the parts kind of like gets subsumed into a larger logic.
Right, in a way that's going to surprise though. Right, so like for examples, so like all those parts and bits and pieces of a cell, there's no hinting that it's going to make some white blood cell that fights viruses.
Like, have you seen that thing that's like, I don't know if it's like the enzyme like walking, like looks like it's walking on top of DNA strand or something.
Yeah,
It's, it's so goofy, but like it's just like it's not even like it's pre-thought, like it's not even it's not even a thinking thing. It's just sort of like chemical causality, taking something from one
right, but in that chemical biochemical processes we are seeing that this emergence of something that's totally shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the synapses in the brain, like there's no hint that was going to ever make instinct or consciousness in the way that we observe it, but it emerged that way from that material physical phenomena.
I think this is like an interesting thing, but I wonder if in this story, there's a little bit less room for that kind of like organic, like if anything, like the story is like how things become less organic and more prescribed.
Right. Well, so that's emergent behavior from machinery then, which I guess would be more cybernetics.
Yeah, but like it's still like doing what you expect it to do and serving human. Like it doesn't seem to transcend like its purpose. It's just like its inner workings become a black box.
I don't know, at the end there I saw some transcendence.
Yeah. I mean, when that's an interesting thing. Yeah, either way, like whatever reading of the nature of this system is, it's like how like all like parallel lines somehow meet at infinity. Like either way, you end up at it is it is this great mystery that it lands on. Like either way, like whichever side you take, it's still the same point of like you said, like surprise or
surprise.
In the end, like where everything is going, like not even the computer knows. Insufficient data.
Did it insufficient at this time? What was the question he asked me that spurred all that? What you thought the hidden endeavor was?
Yeah.
Can I ask the same of you?
Let me look at that. I guess if I were to take a shot at what I think it might have been, and maybe we'll discover it as we discuss the story. I guess like my guess would be, I guess like the exploration of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like just like I guess like the exploration of entropy and of trying to sell or imagine a vision of it and the transcendence from it that could be accepted.
What do you mean?
Because it seems like an overall optimistic.
It is definitely optimistic. I think I agree there.
If the one task is to depict the passage of trillions of years, and to imagine what it would be like to witness the decay of the universe, then the other task might be imagining not just the journey but the destination, and what it would take to bring along like our human designs along with it
through that roller coaster. Huh.
I guess like this sort of, it seems like a deeply I don't know, capital H. They never do capital H. Like a very humanist thing. Like, can we science our way through through the heat death of the universe, and what's on the other side?
Can we reverse it? Can humanity reverse entropy? I guess it was humanist.
Yeah, I mean, this computer seems so nurturing.
Well, that's the thing that makes me wonder if it's humanist or not. If the computer is doing it all, it's rather technoist, computerist.
I guess it's just like like we were talking, because I see what you're saying. In a sense, this is also the duology of like, is this an emergence thing or whatever, like expansion of one vision? Either way, when you get to this, vanishing point at the end of the universe, they kind of meet anyways.
Right.
Like, is it humanist or cyberneticist, or whatever, or transhumanist? When you get to the heat death of the universe,
it comes together in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
do you want to go into
this is interesting. That's awesome thought. Oh, that would be how you beat entropy too, because you take two normally isolated systems from each other, and even under different understandings of systems, one organic, one inorganic. You combine those two, there's no more entropy. We did it. We figured it out.
Right. As long as there is a fundamental other, then that means that things aren't in total uniformity, which is what defines entropy. Sounds so. That's because that's something that actually worried me. Like, as the story went on, okay, I talked about it being optimistic, but some of it, and maybe it's because we were reading these other like darker science fiction stories, and as like this story like evolves and these people become less human to the point where I think like at the end even like their individuality somehow gets like folded into this
orange goo.
Yeah, everyone becomes everyone becomes digital goo. There is something about like individuality being eroded. That's like that did feel like a little dark. Like, I was thinking, like, I don't know, is it better to just die? Like,
well, because there's a point there where they were floating around into hyperspace as individuals.
Yeah, but even then, like, one of them, like, when they're talking and they're talking about different galaxies, and they go like, well, all galaxies are basically the same, and it's like, Jesus, why even bother?
That's fair.
But at the same time, what are you gonna give up? What are you gonna?
Right. I don't know. To your point, though, after a certain point of advancement, I mean, what more can you do besides play around with hydrogen as though it were a sandbox?
Right. As long as there's like room for
Play.
a creation aspect of creativity, creation. There's a very theological science fiction story. It's also, maybe that's the other task, is create a new religion.
This weird crossover with science fiction, isn't it?
Right. That there's a famous Arthur C. Clarke quote that like technology advanced beyond a certain point is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
And I guess Isaac Asimov is responding again. It's like, yeah, but if you go even further than that, it's indistinguishable from a creation myth, from
the creation myth.
It's indistinguishable from. I was trying to think of like a fancy word for religion. I don't know, cosmogony.
From the prime mover. from the primordial faith. There we go.
But I'm sure we'll touch on these. Oh, that's cool. We wow. We could wrap up, go to lunch already. I feel like we got at an interesting point here in this story. Do you wanna zoom in a little bit, go through the just like how the story part of it, like the way.
Yeah, like how these ideas came into be. Yeah. Well, so it opens.
I got here May 21st, 2061.
2061. Oh, we're not that far away from it. Sick. Yeah. So humanity reaches the stars, right? And
is that what? Okay, I just have this quote here at the very beginning, the first line, which is interesting. Is like the last question was asked for the first time, happened just on May 21st, 2061, at a time when humanity first stepped into the light. That's just like a weird sentence. And it doesn't pay off until the very end.
It came about as a result of a $5 bet over highballs, and it happened this way. That's crazy. What an opening.
Yeah. It's like first stepped into the light, this sounds, like Plato or the Bible, right? And then it's like, and these people were drunk on this very 20th century casual conversation. These two guys are drunk, and
$5 can't be worth that much in 2061 either.
Oh my god, yeah, inflation's.
So this is like a small bet for them.
Yeah. Sorry, I promise not to trip over every single line in the story. But
no, it's all good. I mean, there's good prose here.
Yeah, it's very elegant, very clean.
It's punchy when it needs to be.
Yeah, we can keep going. I do want to put a pin on the prose, and just like I they don't write them like this anymore.
What was that?
They don't write them like that. Maybe they do. I don't read enough science fiction. I did read an Andy Weir novel like a few weeks ago, and I liked it. I read Operation Hail Mary. I liked it. To anyone listening, good book. It's fun, but it's the dialogue, the prose is. It's like this story puts on a little blazer. Puts on a little tweed coat to talk to you, and it's just very clean and nice. And this Andy Weir novel, like it sounds like it's written like a Reddit post. I swear it's not cool. It's talking about like all like it goes into like all this science fiction stuff, all these engineering machinations, and he's like, "That's epic, bro." I'm sorry, I don't know. It's making me sound old fashioned. Well, they used to put on a nice pair of pants when they went to church, and now they'll dress in anything. These kids in their blue jeans, I can't.
Cool.
Sorry. Okay.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Need to put that out there. Mm-hmm.
Our drunk gamblers at this point, or multi-vac operators, that's what the computer is called at this point in time.
Yeah.
Our two gamblers are Alexander Adol and Bertram Lupov.
That's the last normal name you hear in the rest of the story.
They get pretty wacky and computer-esque. The layer names kind of remind me a lot of I Have No Mouth, and how Am named these things. Yeah, are just amused by these weird random noises. Yeah. So at this point, Multivac had helped them gather energy from the sun.
Oh, right, because they're like hitting their limit in their expansion across the solar system. So like
Right.
to get materials and energy, the computer figured out a way to get energy from the sun.
I think that's what they're celebrating.
That must be. You think that's stepping into the light?
What was that?
Do you think that's stepping into the light? I mean, I think it probably ties into the last line. I'll shut up and we'll continue.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. First step into the light, and then in the last line. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think that would be what they're stepping into the light of, though, is being able to
like go to space and like
be able to figure out how to embrace the energy of the sun.
yeah. After that point, it is like the universe became the thing that they can interact with, and not just their little corner of the universe that they're allowed to survive in by physics. Right. Yeah. So they're celebrating that they're it's a new age of space travel and of humanity. They're getting information from the sun, and they're like, "All right, free energy forever." And then one of them goes like, "Oh, not forever."
Right. Yeah. What exactly was it? Yeah, I think Lupov corrects him. Not forever. And Adele says, "Oh, hell, just about forever." Till the sun runs down.
And it's so funny how like that's like such a it is like an existentially terrifying thing. In a way, it's the most serious thing, and I don't know how I landed. I'm really liking this lines converging at infinity metaphor, but it's a very serious thing. But when Lupov is saying it, he's just being an annoying shit.
No, it's so far away though. Like
yeah,
like to Adele's point, like that's pretty much forever as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
They don't have to confront that. So they get to this debate, not so much debate, but this argument about maybe it can be like forever, right? Where
yeah, if they can find a way to continue after all the stars in the universe have died out, can they like after everything dies out, can they build everything up again or something?
The precise question was, how can the net amount of entropy of the universe be massively decreased? Was their precise question.
That seems like the...
So I guess their ultimate concern is preventing the stars from ever burning out.
And apparently, like Asimov was translating for us, because at this point in the story, Multivac is advanced enough that they, their simple little drunk minds trust it with such a question, to trust it to know this and to believe whatever it says. But you still need technicians keeping it up, and you can't just like ask it a question. You have to phrase it in symbols and operations which translate to a question.
And then it feeds back the answer it gives it words.
A teletype, that's cute.
If 5 words are printed, insufficient data for meaningful answer.
No, they don't even get to resolve their bet. And that's the end of that. That's the last we hear of Lupov. Then we're introduced to Gerard, his wife, Gerardine, and his children, Gerardette 1 and Gerardette 2.
Must be pretty shitty being Gerardette 2.
Oh my god, yeah. Even if it's the custom, even if your friends are Geraldine 2, like still it's kind of hurt a little bit. Even later when they're talking about the galaxies, they're saying, well, not all of them are different. One of them has to be the original. So they care about what's the original. Not all Geradettes are the same. Gerard. Imagine that. Like, so this is the future, way in the future. Society has advanced to a point where this is the naming convention. This is also, this is part of like, in retrospect, like here at this point, I'm reading the story and I'm still just like taking it. I guess things are different, but and that's a really good way to communicate that not only has things changed, but like society has changed in some way. In that way that everyone becomes more and more a computer as the story goes on. This is a very logical naming convention.
Right.
And it's like
right.
there's already
super.
Yeah.
Completely unemotional. We're gonna name our kids the same name, a combination of both of our names. It looks like because Gerard and Gerardine makes Gerardette, and then we number them.
Yeah, it seems like there's a little bit of patriarchy. They haven't quite gotten rid of that wrinkle yet.
No, that's true.
It's Gerard and then Gerardine. Imagine like, I think my girlfriend has a beautiful name, but it's so sad that when we get married, she'll be called Robertine.
Right. Yeah. So is that what happened? So Geraldine used to be someone else, or had a different name, and then when she married, she had Jared. She had to take the first name.
Yeah, she used to be Amorine or something.
Probably whatever her father's name was.
Right. Oh yeah, Amorette. It would have been her father's Amaro.
Amorette.
But maybe they're cool with it. Whatever. It's just that you only get like these little glimpses at what's going on. That's not the only thing that's changed, right? Because now it's not multivac but microvac.
I think we're traveling through hyperspace now too. So because we figured out light speed, right?
Right, or like hyperspace would be like FTL, right?
Yeah.
Like, because like that means like you're like somehow like crossing dimension.
Or you're breaking gravity.
Let me see. I think that means something specific. Hyperspace. I think it means like you're traveling through another dimension, like 4D travel or something.
What's the fourth dimension?
Okay, I used to think that the fourth dimension was time, but apparently time is just like another vector. I guess that's what any dimension is, but it's not like the next level of it. It's just like another kind of vector that space can fold or be understood through.
Because of higher dimensions, whereas the shape of our three-dimensional space can be distorted during distance. No, so it would be via like gravity particles, I think, is how we would do it.
Computer, how would we do hyperspace? Hey, ChatGPT.
You know, after reading this, I did ask ChatGPT if there's a way for us to reverse entropy.
Oh, what did they say?
It didn't give me the direct quote of Malthavac. I really wish it got the reference.
It's not cool like that.
No, not yet. What did it say? It said, no, I'm afraid reversing entropy is not within the possibility according to the laws of physics. Entropy tends to increase over time, leading to a more disordered and less organized state.
You know what I say to ChatGPT is, not with that attitude.
Well, I asked, will we ever find a way? As my last knowledge update in September 2021, there is no known way to reverse entropy on a microscopic scale according to current understanding of the laws of physics. Blah, blah, blah. Scientists are continuing to explore how to.
Let's give it 40 more years. We'll see.
Yeah, then I'll be able to understand my book reference.
Then I'll finally get to Asimov. Took me 30 years to get to Asimov. I'm 69 years old. Right, yeah. They're trying through hyperspace because they're going through like other planets. Like they got to the point where they're getting energy from any star that they want at any point. They can travel anywhere. And yeah, the Jared clan, they're moving to X-23 where there's 1 million people waiting for them.
They're starting their new life there as a family.
Yeah, they're just sort of chatting. Like, how nice that they're doing exposition dialogue at each other. It's a good thing computers worked out how to do this stuff. But as they're talking, like entropy comes up as a concept, and like they get sucked into that debate. One of them, Jared, decides to be a little smart. I was like, well, I guess we won't have stars forever. And that trips up the Jaredettes. And they get so, like, worked up. Like, this is really interesting because I remember being a kid learning about the heat death of the universe and it making me sad. Learning about the idea that not even that, just even that our star will become a red giant at one point. I remember, like, that making me sad. Like, I really hope we can get to space before that.
Right, like I hope we all make it out of there in time.
Yeah, it made me aware of a ticking time bomb. You know, on a scale that is so big that how could it matter? This is before I knew about global warming.
I guess my question though was how do they know it's so far away?
I that's I think there's like a way to calculate it based on like the output of the star. You can tell how old it is and from the mass.
That's good. I got the math figured out.
From the size and the, I don't know, the wavelength of the, I don't know. There's stuff, yeah, there's, a lot of people are very motivated to learn about that stuff, so they pick up any little clue they can.
And they've learned it.
Yeah. But that is another thing that would make me nervous is that question too. Like, if there wasn't the gauge on your car, then you wouldn't know when it's out of gas until it's out of gas. There's no warning that it's low on gas otherwise, like from just like the state of the car. Like, if that gauge doesn't work, then...
Well, you have to know that the gauge is measuring what it's actually measuring too, what it's supposed to be.
It's a lot of trust.
Well, right, so there's like this whole industry around the gas gauges to make sure that it's correctly measuring your gas.
Man, we are so fragile.
So many bits and pieces and parts.
The other day, I saw a spider make a web between my car and a bush. And it's like, oh, you naive little spider. Like, I don't know the last time I was a spider. Like, there's a chance, I don't know, that you were born before I parked my car there, or born right after I parked my car there, so it's been there your entire life. Like, they do take some time. Like, unless I was parked for a few days, that's probably not true. But, you know, like you're making this web and you're feeling comfortable there, and I'm about to change your whole life.
I'm going to destroy your fucking home.
I guess making a web is relatively trivial to a spider. They can make more. I don't know. Maybe I picked the wrong, but.
I like spiders too. I feel bad ever disrupting one because they kill mosquitoes and other things.
Yeah, they didn't know that you needed to open that door. You're moving furniture right now, so you can't even go around it.
Someday you're going to have to move that car.
It's still sitting there. I didn't touch it. I'm walking to work.
Oh, really?
No.
That's a very Janist approach to things.
Oh, that's that joke in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, the reason that Earth gets destroyed is because they're building a highway.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't even realize, like, our existence depends on the air being just right and other animals existing in just this way, and even left alone, we can barely keep that up. But if we do everything right, which is like, I guess, like the angle of the story, if we do everything right, which is so difficult, it surpasses even our collective minds. We have to invent a mind that is more powerful than all of us combined, and that mind does everything right. We do get to this strange cliff,
this plateau.
Yeah, the way that entropy is so much nothing. It's not even like, it's just the absence of event. It's not even apocalypse. It's just everything.
Well, it's just disorder, right?
Yeah, I hate that I can't say this phrase anymore. It's everything everywhere all at once.
Yes, you can.
Okay, but I don't mean it in relation to the film. I guess you could make if you want to, but no, I mean, that's fine. It is that. Things only are meaningful when it's one thing instead of another thing.
Also, have you had to see that?
Oh, it's pretty good. I mean, it won the Oscar. We didn't need me to tell you that. It won the Oscar. It's fun. It's a cool movie. There was some backlash because some people were a little bit annoying about it, but I find it to be
annoying. How, like, oh, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like it's got like this sort of I don't know what to call it, like this sort of like millennial sincerity, this Ted Lasso niceness about it that irks some people.
I didn't mind Ted Lasso too much. It was fine. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I saw the first 2 seasons. I liked it, and then, but I did find like the first season like worked a lot better.
Schitt's Creek was not for me.
Oh, that's another one of those. Like
I didn't like that one at all.
I've never seen it.
I'm sure you'll dig it. Everyone else around me seemed to have enjoyed it.
Statistically speaking, I will enjoy it.
9 out of 10 dentists approve of this toothpaste.
Right. Every once in a while, you have to be the other dentist, but
Yeah. Sometimes you have to be the odd one out.
you know what's so funny about that phrase is that, like, if you ever ask a dentist, like, "Oh, is this toothpaste good?" They're like, "Yeah, I don't. What? Yeah, they're all fine. Just brush your teeth."
No, I think as far as some law thing, like I don't think they're allowed to advertise it as this has like 100%.
You're allowed to undershoot it, but you can't like be too sure about anything.
No, you can't be 100% sure that this product will do as advertised under a.
Right.
I blanked.
I
had it and I lost it.
Right, like, I mean, if you notice, like, they're not allowed to say lifetime guarantee anymore. Because someone said, like, well, what if someone becomes immortal? And, with entropy, like, that thing's not going to last that whole lifetime. So you actually can't say lifetime guarantee anymore either.
There's inherent vice in all of it,
Yeah, you can't say. You don't know how long I'll live. Chat GPT. Will my toaster outlive me?
Probably not.
No, we talked about the decline of consumer goods too.
Did we cover that one? Sick.
Yeah, join us next week for Brave Little Toaster.
No, I don't want to cry. No, thank you. Those were some emotional films.
I've actually never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, it seems pretty good. It's like a Toy Story kind of thing, right?
It's more effective than Toy Story. You'll feel
more
horrible throwing away any inanimate object.
Right.
We got derailed. Sick.
Right. I was afraid we wouldn't have enough to talk about in this. Yeah, we haven't gotten through the second skit in this story. Right. Yeah. So they asked the computer. They asked Microvac. Which is an instance of the computer that's connected to a planet-wide computer. They ask it. Oh, I thought it was cute how the kid was like, "Don't let them, Daddy. Don't let the stars run down."
Microvac gives the standard answer, right, of insufficient data for meaningful answer.
Mm.
But Jared did something very nice for his daughters. I thought it was nice, at least. He lies to them, where he says that Microvac will take care of everything when the time comes, so don't worry.
That's so interesting. That little bit of lies, because you don't get a lot of stories. It's like we have abandoned the last normal name centuries ago, but like humanity is still very normal here. Like it's a very interesting kind of human lie that he tells your children. That's like in a very secular way, in a very post Enlightenment kind of way, like the invention of religion right there. Because it's not even like Daddy will stop the stars from going out. It's Microvac will take care of it. Yeah, it's like saying not to sound like a epic fedora atheist, but that does feel like a kid goes up to you, like learning about mortality. It's like, oh, you're gonna die, and it's a very nice like get out of jail free card to be like, not really, because our souls are immortal. We have these things called souls that never die, and when I get old, eventually I'll go to sleep and I'll go to heaven, and then you'll go to heaven and we'll be together again.
Always be together.
But I'm not the first person. I know I've heard someone say this, how like we used to like have visions of apocalypse, and then we invented the bomb, and then apocalypse became just something we could like press a button to make happen. And like this multivac is like a little angel, like a little positive mirror to it. It's you can say like no, we won't, like we don't have to worry about the end of things because Microvac will take care of it. It's also a vision of that is so rooted in sort of Leave It to Beaver kind of optimism. Like, this machine here, like
it's got us. This car here will take us miles.
It's like a used car salesman selling Microvac. You don't have to worry about entropy. This baby right here will take you through.
It's like a super old, rusty version of Microvac 2, right? So when the dealer slaps the roof of it, something breaks off.
Oh, don't worry about that.
That's supposed to happen.
At this point, if we just extrapolated from this point, like this is if we're to make a religion from this point, it's like I don't know. This feels like a very 1950s consumer America vision. Like if they were to start over, be like, let's make a religion that works. And then that's where they would start.
It is very 1950s-esque, right? Because you have your nuclear family
Yeah,
model still.
your Jareds and your Jaredettes.
The Jaredettes are, I guess, kind of daddy too.
It's it's an interesting point, but then things get weirder.
They do get weirder. The naming conventions get really strange.
Right. Because then it's VJ23X of Lamix is talking to MQ17J of Nikron. Both seemed in their early 20s. Both were tall, perfectly formed. So they've transcended. This is at this point they're immortal,
right? They figured out how to
eternally youthful.
Everyone is,
which is another thing where like when you were a kid, I don't know, did you grow up with the Lord in your life?
What?
Were you did you have Jesus in your life when you were a kid, or like how was your?
Yeah, so I was when I was a kid, I was in private school since first grade.
It was like a Catholic school or like a.
It was all Roman Catholic, baby.
Oh yeah.
From first grade all the way up to high school, and then all the way up to Xavier.
Right. Yeah, no, same. Like all of my education had been, since first grade was Catholic.
The high school was whack AF too, because it was all boys.
Oh, did you have to like wear a tie and stuff? Am I picturing the right vibe?
No, it was polo shirts and khakis.
Oh yeah, my school was polo shirt.
Shirt and tie was during mass days.
Oh, interesting.
Then we had to wear nice shoes too.
That's very interesting.
The first grade up till 8th grade was worse actually, because we had to wear button-up shirts, these like navy blue slacks, a belt.
These fancy little boys running around.
Yeah, like nice shoes too all the time. And then here's a real shit part. They required a sweater vest, right? But stupid early during the school year too.
Oh no, it's still hot?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And right now it's making me so mad because it's been such a crazy summer this year. Okay, so you're in your correct size socks. You got your belt. Your hair is regulation length, parted to the side. In your suit, you're looking at a gory statue of Jesus with those crazy abs during silent prayer time, and
got no apparent reason boner looking at Jesus.
You're rock hard, and you're thinking like, okay, is this how Jesus? So Jesus was once a child, like me. But I'm seeing a 33-year-old man. When I go to heaven, will I see a 33-year-old man? Will my grandparents be 33 years old? Like, you know what a person is like changes. My grandma's gonna be in heaven and she'll look like my grandma, and then my mom's gonna be in heaven and she'll look like my mom. She won't look like my grandma, but ideally your mom ends up looking like a grandma. I'm not
what?
I'm sorry, I was reverting so much into my child self thinking this through that I didn't communicate it in a straightforward way. But like, when do you decide is the point where like this is the the final cause, to Aristotelian language, like when do you decide like this is what you look like versus all other periods?
That like you will be shown as for eternity.
Yeah. So like once these people achieved immortality, I guess some people got frozen at old. But it's like here, like VJ23X and MQ17J. This is like something so beyond. Like I can't imagine humanity, like a human that doesn't age and die. They're these 400-year-old people in their 20s.
Yeah. Well, they look like they're in their 20s because that's a culturally agreed upon aesthetic of beauty.
Yeah. So it's that's an interesting thing where like could something happen where instead of like emerging into new cells, like things get locked? Like are we losing something by refusing to let go, paradoxically?
I'll argue no.
Hmm?
I'll say we're not losing anything by losing aging.
Because like, who wants back pain? I feel you. I was just throwing out this idea. It's definitely like it's different.
Well, what did the character in Annihilation say? Like we don't have to age. That's just our own selves, our own
Right. Like yeah, it's like failing to replicate
parts of our body betraying us.
That's
right.
true. Yeah, because yeah, it's that thing where I was saying like I don't know, like is it even worth it to like be immortal? But like who's gonna not be immortal? Like
I mean, I would do it. Mind you, if other people did, I would.
This seems like a best case scenario for immortality, where especially as it goes on.
Oh, for sure.
Or I'm not sure.
Because it seems like most other people seem to be in a decent position where they're also immortal with you.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to say like how cyberpunk this future is, where is there like a majority of people that are super poor when the minority are rich and get to be immortal?
If it is, they're not showing it. This feels like cyber trad.
Cyber trad.
Something the opposite of punk.
Oh, no, right, where everyone seems to be doing okay.
It's working out. We've ironed out all the creases. There's no.
Right, I guess this is what the Star Trek future is the one that everyone looks at as ideal.
Yeah, the thing, yeah, it's like just like maybe it's like the party pooper or the overthinking, anxious ones of us will always like look at something and be like, I don't know, is this what we want? Like every once in a while, there's a Star Trek episode that's like, oh, the Federation is wrong. How can you say things are just when it's like that?
Right. I haven't seen much of it, so I can't comment.
The joke about Star Trek is that they have the the Prime Directive not to interfere, and basically every episode is breaking the Prime Directive.
I mean, that's there for a reason. I can't believe they would break it so often.
Can't have a show about people not doing anything.
You can have a show of people following the Prime Directive. What are you talking about? That's an awesome premise.
That'd be a neat one where they just sort of observe and they go, how interesting. Check. Movie. But for real, that would be interesting. Like if they went into enough detail, like if it's just like if Arrival was just about the aliens coming down just to chat and then they chat for a little while and they peace out. Maybe it wouldn't be as popular as it is, but I would enjoy it. I would imagine it has its defenders because like how fascinating. There's other life. How do they do things? Can we get along?
Well, I think Netflix had a documentary that like explored astrobiology.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
It was cool, and I mean it was kind of like that premise of let's go check out this planet, and it has like this manner of
yeah. Like here's this ecosystem.
Physics. Yeah.
I was like the first episode of that, and losing my mind. It's like the way they talk about like how about things in such a normal way. Like
oh yeah,
I'm gonna get everything wrong, but it's like the glub nuts take flight, but where are their glub nuts? There are shubus. Like, whatever but that's I mean I wouldn't ask them to do it any other way. I want to just like I want there to just be a world and then just like see what it is.
Yeah. If there were a Star Trek like that, it was just documentary coverage. It'd be sick.
That'd be neat. I wonder if there's any one-off. I'm not a big Star Trek guy. I've only seen like a few TNGs here and there.
I haven't seen any.
I think. Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say they used to be all on Netflix, but they're probably all on Paramount now.
Do we have Paramount? I think we have Paramount. God, there's so many of them now. There's so many streaming services. So annoying.
I was trying to tie it to Multivac somehow, but I don't have the knowledge of the cyber systems to.
There's so many. Elegant. There's so much media. We have to live forever to experience.
Yeah. Okay. So, MQ-17J. They're chatting. What do they get up to? They're talking to Galactic AC.
You're talking about whether space is infinite, or if there's only a finite number of galaxies. I think.
Yeah, the one thing they talk about is that they're immortal, but they're still reproducing. So they've already filled up a galaxy, and they're doubling every 10 years. So they need this. So every 10 years, I guess, I guess it means that they take up another galaxy. And then they start talking about energy, I guess, because there's enough galaxies, I guess, that they... And they think they can make galaxies, and they can make stars. Oh, yeah, so, making stars is what leads to the question, which is an interesting thing, because they're not even considering, death. They're just, considering, an engineering problem. Okay, we're gonna run out of housing. Do we have enough materials, or can we create new materials out of this stuff? So they're talking about, can they make new stars out of gas and dissipated heat?
Not once does antinatalism come up, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I guess they just have it so good. Why do they even... But I guess it in between it comes up, because at one point they stop reproducing, right? They're not really... That's a really neat, this format. I guess it's the only way to cover 1 trillion years and still have scenes, is to just pop in every once in a while. And just imply things to let you know that things are changing, like these names or their manner of talking.
But the question always kind of remains.
Yeah. So they ask about entropy, and the computer says there is insufficient data for a meaningful answer.
Then VJ23X said, "See?"
And they moved on. Cut to... I don't know how long. Now it's Z Prime.
Another trillion years. Or 10.
And Z Prime is existing as a sort of floating mind while his body's in storage somewhere. And one of his mind tendrils bumps into... Oh, look who it is. It's D-Sub-1. We all know D-Sub-1.
Oh my god, I can't with these names. I can't.
This would be funny if, at this point is when Microvac turns into Am.
Oh.
It'd be funny if, this where... if we just popped in and everything went to shit, would be a really fun twist for this story.
Well, Am behaved the way it did because its soul was confined by gravity.
Oh, that was the problem. Yeah, Am just took the meteor route when it could have
launched itself into space and just escape.
But they're just chatting. They're floating around through space, which is now I can't imagine. This has gone beyond. I can't imagine Z Prime is married to a Z Prime-ine and has Z Primate children. I don't even know if these floating minds have friends.
Well, they seem to bounce on each other sometimes.
Right, yeah, they're having conversations. They seem to get along. Did you get a sense that Z Prime and D Sub? No, they just meet for the first time.
They're just bouncing into each other.
They have entire universe. This is maybe like, I don't know, like, have we crossed the point? Like, this isn't really utopia or dystopia, right? This is just sort of like, I mean, how else could you how else could you survive once you have infinite expansion, immortality? Could this just be like just the logical next step? Like,
I mean, this is just like new type evolution, right? So new types happen, and then there's probably a new type. And the state humanity's in with Z prime and D sub 1 is probably like new type.
yeah. And, you know, this is my old type thinking, is maybe there's my Earth's gravity. Like, if you don't have friends or family, what are you, you know, what
are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah. Like, I think if I had no friends or family and I was immortal, I could probably still, like, you know, it'd be lonely, but, you know, I would still have, like, I guess, like, curiosity about the world to keep me going, maybe. I don't know. It seems that feels like a loss if there's none of that.
I think there's some of that. I think Z Prime says, you know, it's rare at his point in time, at their point in time, but like people go back to their bodies to experience those things.
Okay, so they do touch on it a little bit. Like there's some navigating that needs to happen for like how do you make this an enjoyable or
there's a universal AC to like take you to other space mines floating around if you're so inclined.
Yeah, you have the option. I guess that is ideal. Like, you have the option to not to find your own little corner if you need it too. Like, you're not just in a can.
Is this the best possible future? I don't know. I imagine it'd be boring after a while.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But I guess I don't know. Z Prime and D sub 1, I don't know how much they're enjoying this time in their lives, if you can call it that. They're just like saying, like, hello, everything looks like the universe, doesn't it? Right? So that's what I guess we brought it up before. They're talking about
galaxies.
How all the galaxies are the same. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, if you're saying that sounds like a joyless thing to say, and it's just like a matter of fact. But I guess you're alive for millions of years, whatever. And they go, well, one of them is the original. Yeah. So when they go over, all they see is like a burnt out thing. Just a white dwarf somewhere. Okay, and then we know we do get a little bit of emotion here because it wasn't just me getting a flutter. It was E Prime. A sense of loss overwhelmed him even so. His mind released its hold on the original galaxy of man, let it spring back and lose itself among the blurred pinpoints. He never wanted to see it again. And that's what gets him thinking about entropy, is like this sadness. Now we're back to, it's not curiosity. Like now we're ping-ponging back to the deep existential question of like, will everything, I don't know, is death inevitable? Like, how do we reckon with the end of everything?
And this is terrifying for them because they have to confront it.
Yeah,
because they're living.
They're mortal, yeah. And you know, it's funny. Now they're in the position of the. I'm thinking about it now. Like now they're in the position of the Jaredettes. They're sad about they're considering mortality for some reason, and they go up to Universal AC and they're like, Daddy, stop it from happening.
Don't let the stars burn out, Daddy.
Right? It's like, I do not wish it to happen, even after billions of years. Universal AC, how many stars be kept from dying? D sub 1 is not as rattled. And Universal AC, of course, says there is as yet insufficient data for a meaningful answer. The other thing to touch on, I think, is that little bit where Z Prime had looked upon like the quote unquote body, like whatever little bit of the computer isn't in this ethereal another space, I don't know. And it's just like a little ball somewhere, like a 2-meter ball.
Yeah, it's like a marble almost. It's a little space marble.
I guess that speaks to And I'm like, yeah, singularity, like the computer's changing and becoming more and more other.
More, I guess, more alien.
Yeah. Right, until we get to the last bit of the story where it's not even the universal AC, it's the cosmic AC, and it exists entirely in hyperspace.
And instead of our name characters, it's all just man now.
Yeah, this is the newest type of all. This is the pure instrumentality. Interesting. I guess like even throughout all these trillions of years, like maybe we're still they didn't quite fix patriarchy.
Didn't quite fix what?
Didn't quite fix patriarchy.
No, because it's called man and not woman, right?
And man, they had that like buried deep, because it seemed like we'd gotten to the point where Z Prime and D Sub 1, and the naming convention then like, took a like they went retro.
Surprised didn't go Adam with this route or something.
Oh, but I guess that's too personal, and man is like this thing, this collection, this emergent.
Could have been ATOM.
Ooh, nice.
Little pun. Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, because it's like they became one thing. And I guess Adam is still. I guess man is still divisible, in a sense, though.
Which does happen.
It's quite an event when it happens.
Oh yeah. One by man fused with AC.
When Adam is divided, doesn't that create quite a burst of light?
Yes, it creates a big bang, big boom,
a big bang. Man, if Isaac was here, I think he would appreciate that note.
I hope so. Isaac, if you're listening, up there as a 20-year-old,
as a beautiful 20-year-old man,
please appreciate my puns.
Yeah, man is this man is this thing. It's been trillions of years. The universe is dying, and now we've gotten to the point where the hypothetical has been becoming more and more real, and humanity's become this strange thing. The computers become this strange thing, and still the question remains: how may entropy be reversed? And man's getting impatient now. When Cosmic AC says there's insufficient data for a meaningful answer, man says collect additional data. Rude. But at this point, man and computer have been roommates for trillions of years. Like I can imagine, like I get it. Given enough time, even a whole universe isn't gonna be. But the Cosmic AC doesn't get the. Just responds like I'm working on it. I work on it. Everyone who was me before has been working on it.
One of the other answers that I kind of liked Cosmic AC giving was no problem is insoluble in all conceivable circumstances.
That's interesting that they could have such now even Cosmic AC wants to figure something out. Isn't there a thing in math about how about there being an inherent a gap in what can be proven? Like I think it's something called like Gödel's incompleteness theorem. This is something to Google for the folks at home, because I'm gonna get it wrong and I don't know.
Also, I was thinking about like normal. I don't know about normal, but like a lot of the even social scientific research articles, like they're never like 100% certain of like the correlations or relationships they're finding. You're only ever like, 95% sure of anything. Because they're at all times they're always accounting for randomness occurring.
Right. And, I know it's like the, and like there's just because there's so much, there's so much variability that one can be expected. But, but then if you say like, well, if you have a powerful enough computer that can account for the movement of every single atom, then you like talk to the people that quote, that bring up quantum physics and talk about the inherent randomness there. But okay, you can still get it within a probability space. You can still understand it that way. And it seems like as far as our understanding of what it means to understand something or to know something, so far it seems to go in the face of it seems like the premise, nothing is insoluble, is very ambitious. There's a very cocky answer.
Just the confidence too, though, in all conceivable circumstances. That is that's some narcissism there.
Yeah, Cosmic AC. This is a technology taken to a point so far that it's transcended even magic. Right. This is Cosmic AC has gotten to the asymptote, to the limit of being the totality of everything, because it doesn't quite know how. It just knows that it can. Or right now, I guess like the problem that it can answer right now is just whether or not. It doesn't know. It knows that it can get to the answer of whether or not, and then it turns out that maybe it can. But I guess like that is now that I'm thinking about it again, maybe maybe it's just like in the dumbest way possible. After trillions and trillions and trillions of years pass in the pure entropic state, at one point the computer's gonna go, well, I tried everything. Like, you can think it through, or you could just try every single combination lock, every single combination on the lock possible, and eventually go, well, turns out there wasn't a code here.
Data told me that this problem is indeed insoluble. I was wrong.
Yeah, or the solution is there's no way to open this lock. Like, it turns out that this combination lock was actually just a calculator that was taped onto to a box. And there was no combination of numbers that could open the box. But the only way to know for certain is to try every number first.
Try every single solution every time.
This computer has the time to just look at every angle and brute force the solution. So, like, there's not enough information. Maybe there's just no way to think it through. You just have to acquire every bit of information available. But it takes so long that man cannot be sustained. Capital M, man cannot be sustained.
Nope.
Entropy is advancing. Stars and galaxies are dying out. Space grew black after 10 trillion years of running down. This sentence is so funny. It's not funny. Like, I think it's poetic. One by one, man fused with AC, which is neat. It's like man is one thing and many things.
All at the same time.
To bring it back to religion again, but Trinity is. I'm sure there's other religions that have the concept of many beings being one being. I think Brahmanism.
Pantheism.
One by one, man fused with AC, each physical body losing its mental identity in a manner that was somehow not a loss but a gain. Oh, so there you go. He answered the question. It wasn't a loss. What am I saying? You're not losing anything. Man's last mind paused before fusion, looking over a space that included nothing but the dregs of one last dark star, and nothing besides but incredibly thin matter, agitated randomly by the tag ends of heat wearing out, asymptotically to the absolute zero. A beautiful description of just physics playing out.
One last dark star? nothing besides but incredibly thin matter. That's crazy.
And one last question that Man asks, is this the end? Can this chaos not be reversed into the universe once more? And AC again says, there is as yet insufficient data for a meaningful answer. Which is, I guess that's how we all die. We don't die knowing. Up to the last moment, we don't know.
No, that's true. Man's the last mind fused, and only AC existed, and that in hyperspace. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, which is interesting. Like AC can exist somehow in hyperspace in a way that Man is. Like AC is something like different from Man up until the point of assimilation,
fusion.
And now, like, the question of, like, what do you even do if you got no friends? AC doesn't have any friends. It just has this one question to
play around with,
to mull over. I'm really enjoying this story. Like, talking it through again, like, there's a lot of story to the story.
No, there's a ton of story to the story. All other questions have been answered, and until this last question was answered also, AC might not release his consciousness. That's tragic.
Yeah. Imagine if there just isn't sufficient data. Imagine, like, the Gödel's incompleteness theorem catches up. Like it's even sadder than that, you know, whatever the Futurama joke of saying to a computer, this statement is false. Imagine locking an immortal being into a quest, you know, into
this question that it has to answer. It's like it's in its very core to answer this.
So almost as a more of a mercy to AC than to us. AC does find an answer.
Yeah.
It can reverse entropy.
But there is now no man to whom AC might give the answer to the last question.
Oh.
No matter. The answer, by demonstration, would take care of that too. For another timeless interval, AC thought how to best do this. Carefully, AC organized the program. The consciousness of AC encompassed all of what had once been a universe and brooded over now what was now chaos. Step by step, it must be done. And AC said, let there be light. And there was light.
Right, and now, and like that's, it's an interesting thing where, you know, we're left at the door of what is at the other side of that. It just occurred to me now reading it, like I was thinking maybe now, like that what that point is you know, then it loops back, like maybe like this is the new thing. It's just like a cycle of creation and destruction.
See, but Cosmic AC knows how to reverse it now.
Yeah, or it just creates a new, like this is a heaven now. They found the point of like a world of pure creation.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the other side of that would look like.
You know what the saddest thing would be? I just thought about. I don't know, sad. Yeah, whatever. Saddest to me. I think it's interesting if because the options are either like it creates a cycle, right? Because it says like when humanity first stepped into the light, which, you know, as a pun, you could say when it, you know, the second time it stepped into the light, you could say it could be implied by that.
Yeah.
Or it could be when it first stepped into the light, as in like the first step into this new, you know, illuminated existence, which goes on forever now, which is kind of yeah, that's the kind of heaven vision, right? I guess like we had this world that had this inherent vice to it, and after it plays out, that's the condition necessary for there to be a world of true eternity. Which is the other, but the other, like the saddest one would be it's neither of those, or maybe it's indistinguishable. When he says "let there be light," what the AC does is that it creates a simulation.
Right, but so, if it's a simulation,
it's a simulation that just uses the entirety of
of what was once the universe.
Of the entropic chaos of the universe as it's to run it.
So does it matter? There's a simulation.
Yeah, at that point, like with the other thing we were saying, like going back to this converging lines thing, like if you get to that point, what's the difference between? I don't remember. I took a class on like Islamic theology one time, and I don't remember how he got there. Like that's another thing for everyone to Google, I guess. But there's a description that an Islamic philosopher had about like how to describe God. And they got to the point where like the description for God was a self-thinking thought. Like everything has an origin except for God, which it inherently produces himself. Like if you have a computer that is the entire universe and the contents of what it calculates is a universe of its design, like you got to that point.
A self-thinking thought. Do you remember who it was?
I don't know. I want to say maybe. Nah, I'm gonna get it wrong. Yeah, Ibn Rushd maybe. I looked up self-thinking thought, and I get apparently it's originally attributed to Aristotle.
Oh, that makes sense too.
Yeah, and like that's who they were like talking about.
I find Aristotle overrated personally, but that's just me. Better than Plato.
There's an elegance to both of those. I guess Aristotle, I like how he's more like systemic. Like Plato has a lot of like big brain thoughts, but then like like the whatever, like the proofs are like, isn't this kind of like a boat? And if you agree that the boat has these features, then therefore the
I think Aristotle was more rigorous, but like Plato was just, I don't know what a biographer for Socrates. That's how he came across.
Yeah, I guess he was like that's part of how he's inventing the format.
That's fair.
It is more fun to have like the Socrates character and all that, but in general, I think I do prefer a philosophy or an epistemology that takes into account like stuff, like the thingness of things.
Right. We're just maybe Plato was more focused on what those forms and the philosophy king shit is kind of scary.
Yeah, right. When he starts applying that to politics and
just a little fash.
Right. But when you get to the point of entropy, who wouldn't surrender even their individuality to the best thinking thing in the entire universe, to logic itself?
Oh. Huh. No, that's a different situation entirely. No.
Well, this I don't like philosopher kings except for the situation of being an immortal being coming face to face with entropy, and there's a perfect machine that is
a perfect
that I fully
machine
trust to
trying to rebel against the tyranny of physics. I'll support it every time.
Okay, but besides that, no philosopher king. Besides
that one, no.
We don't even know if the AC is a philosopher. Does AC truly understand things? Or is it just carrying out operations?
I don't know. What about you?
yeah, that's. I'm absolutely the second thing. I understand nothing. I only rattle off.
I don't know. I have no idea. This is an insoluble problem for me to figure out. I have no idea.
Not insufficient data.
Data will never be sufficient for me to figure this one out.
For the listeners out there, if you do have the answer about the nature of humanity, thought, and reality, if you think you've hacked it, sound off in the comments.
What do you think of philosopher kings? I think they're kind of scary. Unless we're fighting entropy. If we're fighting entropy, that's a good fight. Yeah, good story. I enjoyed it.
I got a lot of juice out of it.
No, yeah, I mean, there's depth for 26 pages, for sure.
I guess, the thing is just like it has this ambition and it just follows it through. All right, let's just like imagine for a second what it would be like to have the technological capability to see the universe to its end. And then let's just leave the door open for something after.
Well, I'll say it. I think this was my favorite Isaac Asimov story.
I agree. Out of all the Isaac Asimov stories I have read, unsurpassed, this one is.
Maybe Jared at 1 and 2 will make a comeback in the next story.
Right, yeah. Until we get to the
last answer.
Ooh. The last answer. Jaredette's revenge.
Jaredine's counterattack.
I was gonna say the second to last question, but that's the opposite of a sequel.
That's a prequel.
It's funny. It almost sounds like it would be. Anyways, yeah, so that was 2 hours. Okay. I thought this would be a short one. I thought we were just going to talk about a cute little story. But I think that wraps up our pleasant evening for the night.
Most definitely. Thank you, listeners.
Yeah, join us next time when we're going back into Gundam. But anyways, and after that, we'll see, I guess. Stay tuned.
Let us know your favorite Isaac Asimov story.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll read it here next.
Maybe it'll be our new favorite.
I doubt it, though. All right.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night.
Thanks for listening.